Talk about this. So this is the projected map for the 2030s based off population changes in 2022 and 2023. And it looks very, very bad for Democrats. Okay, very, very bad for Democrats. So these are the safe Republican states. Here, we can include Florida and can include Alaska. Okay. Just for these states alone, Republicans have 227 electoral votes. Actually, I have to include Nebraska. Yeah, Nebraska. Well, am I missing a state? We have North Carolina. Okay, if they win North, this would be Trump's victory. If Trump won if we won every state, Trump would get 324 electoral votes. Which means this would be a disaster because California loses 4 seats, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Colorado stays the same, doesn't gain anything. Yeah, and this Democrats would have 176. And let's just say Republicans win Arizona and Nevada, as that's the way it's going. Democrats would have to win all of the Rust Belt. They would have to win Minnesota, New Mexico. They'd have to win Virginia and New Hampshire, and of course over in Hawaii, obviously. But they would have to win Georgia just to get barely. Oh wait, we have to fill in Maine's. Just to barely win the election. Okay, they have to win Georgia to barely win the election. Okay, that is very bad news. What if the Rust Belt continues trending Republican? That's bad news for Democrats. Even if they get Georgia, the Republicans can win still through the Rust Belt. And we are not even talking about trends like New Jersey. Okay, well, New Jersey is trailing away from the Democrats. Okay, New Jersey was within 5, I think, within 6. Okay, within 6 points. New Mexico might become a swing state. Minnesota might be a swing state as well. Okay, that gives Democrats less safe states, especially if Arizona and Nevada become more solid Republican states. This causes a problem for Democrats, and now Democrats will have to be fighting for New Jersey. Okay, the only way Democrats can win again is that they become more moderate. Okay, Democrats are seen as too far left. Okay, too far left. Okay, and it could open back Nevada, Arizona, maybe not states like it could open that back up North Carolina. Oh, and Virginia would also be a swing state. Virginia would maybe go back into the safe column. New Jersey would go back into usually always reds. And yeah, it'll be back to the 7 swing states we already had in 2020, which Trump won every single one of them. But if Democrats, become more conservative as a form of adapting, places like Ohio and Texas might actually become more competitive if Democrats, become more conservative. Okay, if Democrats eventually lift away from those policies to try to become more competitive. But it seems that America is becoming more and more conservative, which is something that Democrats do not like. Trump won the popular vote. The first Republican since, I think, Bush to win the popular vote. And it was like 20 years, too. As Trump expanded the map for Republicans. He expanded the map here. And also he might soften up two formerly swing states, very similar to Florida. If Republicans get to act together in Arizona and Nevada, obviously, they could soar up these 2 states into safe states. Okay? Nevada and Arizona swung heavily towards the right. Okay? Biden barely won Arizona in 2020. Trump won it by 5. Biden won Nevada by like 2. Trump won it by 4. to 5 points. Okay, I think it was on 4 points. Okay, and that's about winning Clark and Russell County. Okay, he got very close in both counties too. Okay, Trump can also soar. They can also soar up Pennsylvania. You see, this is the problem for Democrats. If they, and of course they win North Carolina, they win the election. No matter, even if Democrats win all the other swing states, they lose. Because if you soar up Pennsylvania and North Carolina, no, you lose the election. Okay, let's say Republicans soar up these two states. Democrats will have to, think of elsewhere to weaken Republicans. The weakest states in Republican column is Utah and Kansas. Okay, these are the only states Democrats may, and Republicans will still win 270 votes. Because Republicans can win Wisconsin and Michigan, as they are also swing states. But Utah and Kansas didn't really move. Same thing with Nebraska. Okay, Utah and Kansas didn't really move. Okay, and also, like we saw with Texas, trends can reverse. Okay, Democrats don't realize this, but trends can reverse. Texas, which could become a swing state, had went back to the solid red column, even red in states like Florida and Iowa. Okay, because of how well Trump did in the Rio Grande Valley. Okay, I do not see Republicans going back to the McCain, the old guard Republican McCain, who's the other one? I keep thinking McCormick, but no, not him. Mitt Romney. Okay, Romney. McCain, Romney, Cheney. Okay, those old guard Republicans, okay, will never go back to the old guard Republicans. And Republicans are smart. They would have to realize and work with Trump if they want any future as a political party. They'll have to embrace what Trump has gifted them. If it wasn't for Trump, Republicans would be losing. They would be losing states like Texas. They would be losing states like Florida. Okay, now they sort up these two big states, which are basically the Republican equivalent of California and New York, and they basically softened these states to save Republican. You also have states like Ohio, which used to be a swing state. Republicans have now made it a safe Republican state. These are the safe Republican states, basically over a 10-point margin. Okay, which means we're going to exclude Nevada and Arizona from this category, but these are the safe Republican states. Safe Democrat states are like New York, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, with voted by Trump by 10, and of course the Northeast states and Maine at large. And we're going to put Nebraska second as a toss-up seat as well, because Nebraska second is volatile. And Democrats could gain in places like, Utah, Kansas, and Alaska, but if Republicans have good governorship and put up better candidates to shore up these states and keep these states safe Republican, as these are the three weakest states at this current moment for Republicans, not Texas, because at least Texas has very strong leadership, and Florida does, which has managed to keep these states safe red. Okay, Iowa as well. Iowa has become safe red. There is no way it's becoming blue anytime in the near future. Okay, and this is the map Democrats may have a stroke over, even if they get Georgia as a blue state. Okay, even if they win Georgia, Republicans would win North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. Okay, as those states are like lean Republican states, and all they have to do is pick off one of these states. So these are lean blue states. So let's say Virginia, New Jersey, and these states, which leaves down to the Rust Belt three. The most Republican of the three is Pennsylvania, followed by Michigan, and these states usually vote together. So, and let's say Democrats win Nebraska second. Republicans would win even without Georgia. This is without Georgia. So Democrats are hoping, we'll win Georgia, we'll win the election. But if they focus us on Georgia, they'll lose. Okay? They'll lose the election. Because there's so many other swing states now. Trump has expanded the swing map. Okay, adding. Oh yeah, I forgot about New Hampshire. New Hampshire is also a swing state. Okay, has expanded the swing map, adding New Mexico, Minnesota, New Jersey, Virginia, and New Hampshire. Okay, what if they Trump loses all of these states, or the Republican candidate? Well, there are still 6 other states they can win. They can win these 2 states down here, and all they have to do is win one of the 3 of the 4 states, because New Hampshire is four extra votes. And this is the problem. Well, because of Youngkin, they win Virginia. Okay, Virginia, as well. And also the biggest trends in Virginia are in the urban areas. So Virginia, if the same trends happen again, Virginia would flip in 2042. So Democrats still could win an election, but it would be very difficult. Even if they win the 3 Rust Belt states, they win Virginia, or what to say Republicans win Georgia. They won Brian Kemp or another Republican that's pretty popular in Georgia, and they lose Virginia, they win the election. Okay, even without the Rust Belt states, they can win without the Rust Belt states, but they couldn't in 2024. Okay, and once the state Democrats win the last 3 states, making the map look like this. Okay, Republicans could also win Virginia, and it would make a difference. Which means Democrats would have to win Georgia. That's how they could win an election, but it'll be a very narrow victory. Okay, Republicans can also win any of the other swing states. They can win Virginia. They can win, not New York. New York may become a swing state, but they could win. Let's just say they win Virginia. Okay, Virginia is within 5 now, within 6, so within around 5-point win. So let's just say Republicans win Virginia, which means even with Georgia, Republicans win the election. See, this is the mathematical problem for Democrats. Trump has expanded the map, making these 5 states, Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and New Mexico, okay, swing states. It's not even guaranteed Republicans would win Georgia. Republicans could just win Georgia and they win the election. Okay. Republicans could just focus on the Sun Belt, which includes New Mexico and Virginia now, and just simply win the election. Okay, and even if Democrats win all of these states up here, they lose. Okay, they lose. These states are losing their power. Okay, the Sun Belt is gaining power, which is very bad news for Democrats, as Democrats did horribly in the Sun Belt this election cycle. They lost Florida. They're probably not getting back for decades. They lost Texas. Okay, they can't do Brexit anymore, because look at the map of Texas. This was the map of Texas in 2024. Okay, Trump won 56% of the vote in Texas. Trump won counties that Republicans haven't won for a century. Okay. And the last time Republicans have won Texas by this margin, by a huge margin, was, I think, Mitt Romney. That was the last time, and Republicans did very, very well in the suburbs back then. Okay. But now Republicans won the Southern Texas. It's very likely that all of Southern Texas by 2030 will be Republican. Okay, which will be very, very bad news for Democrats. And these used to be safe blue counties, and South Texas, I think, is only going to get redder and redder. It's not going to get bluer and bluer. Okay, and Trump also reversed the trends in the suburbs. You can even see the same thing about Florida. We have Florida pulled up, and it's a similar story. How are Democrats going to recover from this? Okay, yes, they have California. I don't see California, and let's say because they don't lose space like California and New York, which I don't think they are. Okay, but what if Democrats have a very bad year? Okay, a very bad year. Okay, They have another really bad candidate like Joe Biden, and it'll make New York, Illinois, and Delaware, and that's from Delaware. Let's say they won Kamala in 2042 for some reason, okay, and or they won AOC, okay. At this point, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada are safe Republican, okay. This would be a nightmare scenario, as Democrats would have to defend New York, Illinois, they would have to defend many states, okay, as well. And they would have to defend the Rust Belt, and they would lose all of these states. They would lose the Rust Belt states, they would lose these states, and this is a Democrat nightmare scenario. Like, even a Republican nightmare scenario, okay, Republicans have 224, in a Republican nightmare scenario, that means they would lose Utah and Kansas and Alaska. But even then, they still have all these states, as these states are trending towards Republicans. And some even maxed out in some cases, like Oklahoma, or Arkansas, they're kind of maxed out in those states, okay, or West Virginia or Wyoming, because they're not gonna gain much more vote out of those states, okay. But even in a Republican worst case scenario, they still have 214 electoral votes. If they lose states like Kansas, Utah, and Alaska, now Democrats are hoping to win those states, okay. Let's just say the Republicans have like an absolute awful night as well, okay. And they do very poorly in Texas as well. They barely win Texas and Florida. The and basically the Democrats fight to second Obama. The problem is Democrats, they have a bunch of horrible candidates. Okay, unless Trump's term is like absolutely awful and dooms the Republicans for the 2030s. Okay, which means they lose states like Kansas and Utah and Alaska. Okay, and they lose North Carolina. But it's very, very unlikely that will happen. This is bad news for Democrats. Okay. Oh, yeah, I also forgot to do DC. As Democrats, unless they get their act together, or if Trump has or if Trump's second term is like absolutely like awful, okay. Because there's also a possibility that could happen. Okay, there are some, like, a very few small amount of economists that are saying that, hey, tariffs could actually harm the economy more than good, or the deportation thing. But that's what people voted for. Okay, immigration, I think, is going to continue to be a hot issue for the next 10 years, even after Trump goes into office, especially over legal immigration, which means we might fairly see a very likelihood of an immigration moratorium taking place. Well, for decades, there was very little immigration happening, and yeah, this is gonna be what, if that happens, we might see, something happen, because you also gotta realize, when it comes to like immigration, the whole reason why the left wants immigration is because of birth rates, okay. But the problem is with birth rates is that in the countries that America's getting the immigrants from, like China or Mexico, they're actually lower than the U.S. birth rate on average. Okay, people don't realize this, but Mexico's total fertility rate, per government numbers, okay, not by the UN, because the per government numbers are often way lower than the actual UN numbers themselves. Okay, which Mexico's birth rate was around 1.4, which Brazil's is like 1.3, Colombia like 1.2, Chile is 0.8, which is absolutely abysmal. Okay, those countries in Latin America have a way lower birth rate than the USA, which means likelihood those countries are going to want immigration from America. Okay, which wouldn't be too surprising, because especially like China, which its birth rate is like 1. Okay, We talk about birth rates, like that's the whole reason they want immigration is because of birth rates. But these countries, like Mexico, which is a birth rate of 1.4, El Salvador 1.4 to 1.5. Okay, these countries are going to want to incentivize diaspora, populations to come back, and one country has done that already, which was Japan. Okay, it did not know that Japan actually made it a thing where diaspora populations, incentivizing them to come back, and actually Japan has a decent size of Japanese diaspora populations in the country. Okay, which we might see something very similar happen in Latin America. Which means overall for the Democrats, which they really thought that, and also with the Latino vote, they really thought the Latino vote would not vote for Democrats because of the color of the skin, which is honestly very racist if you think about it, because, oh, you're brown, vote for me. And it's not just Latinos, there's a lot of Asian communities, especially Indians, that have basically, if you look at like places like New Jersey, there are several like cities, smaller towns, and suburbs that are more Indian, and they trended towards Republicans. Okay, and the other group that trended towards Republicans, I think, are Native Americans. Okay, which they're losing. That means they're losing that vote too. Okay, which means Democrats are only the party of blacks and the college-educated whites, as a more small groups like Jewish people, which didn't really move this election. Okay, which means it's a rough time for Democrats overall, because if Republicans continue to keep this coalition together, this is a very, very bad news for Democrats, which means the only way Democrats have to do to survive is that they have to adapt and change their policies and strategies. It is just that simple. If Democrats don't do that, someone else will rise, a new political party will rise to replace them. Kind of like how the Whigs were replaced by the Republican parties in the 1850s. Okay, leading to our current two-party system. Goodbye.